Welcome to Before Floor, the pregame edition of Five on the Floor, brought to you by the Five Reasons Sports Network. I'm your host, Jonathan, aka Three Piece Combo. Today, we're joined by a regular from the Five Reasons Sports Podcast, Mr. Greg Sylvander, and we're joined by a regular here on the pregame show, Mr. Mateo Mayorga. How are you guys doing today?
Great, man. How are you?
Feeling good? We playing the Bucks. We just got one win against them, trying to make it a 2-0 sweep in this little two-game series. How you feeling, Mr. Greg Sylvander?
I'm feeling good. It should be a fun, eventful weekend of South Florida sports, whether you like football or NBA. You guys know I always lean NBA. Nationally televised game at home. I know Giannis is out, but Bam and Jimmy appear to be available. And to me, that means that this is a game worth watching, y'all. So I'm hyped. I'm hyped on this Saturday afternoon.
Absolutely. And like you said, we're going to be covering not only the Heat game, but the Dolphins game right here on the Five Reasons Sports Network. Make sure you guys subscribe for all that coverage. Make sure you guys like that video as well. We appreciate that. Now, if you guys are joining us, make sure you guys also go to markbrownpa.com and make sure you let him help you with your financial planning. marcbrownpa.com. That's his website, like Alejandro just threw up, or give him a call, 954-866-8513. If you're young with a family and you want to make sure all your assets go to the right people if something happens to you, like I said, make sure you hit up Mark Brown. He'll give you a free consultation. He's based out of the North Lauderdale area and services the entire South Florida pretty much. So make sure you, like I said, visit his website, marcbrownpa.com, or give him a call, 954-866-8513. Make sure you give your business to a Heat fan and not a Lakers fan or a Celtics fan or a Bucks fan, right? Make sure you give it to Mark Brown. Now, always, you guys know we play our prize picks. We do our rapid fire every single pregame show. We want to make sure you guys maximize the money that you're putting in, right? So what you're going to do, you're going to go to prizepicks.com, use that promo code 5, spell it out like it's on the screen, FIVE. We're going to match your initial deposit up to $100. You can play each game for as little as $5. So that's literally 20 free plays with using that promo code 5. So like I said, we give you free picks every single day. Go to prizepicks.com, use that promo code 5. We'll get your deposit matched up to $100. Greg, I'll start with you on this one. We posted on the Instagram account for the 5 reasons, 6-1 without Kyle Lowry, right? I just want to know kind of what do you make of that the team has had a little more success with him off the court?
I don't make much of it. I think that we're overstating what that really means. I think that likely it's probably a testament to the fact that this team does have a lot of other guys who can get them into offense, maybe not in the traditional way, but in a way where they at least can function, right? And also with the increased ability in isolation from guys like Bam and Hero and them guys finding new ways to, impact the game that way, I just feel like they've been able to weather that storm. It's telling. And if it continues, I think that we all know that this is we're kind of careening toward are they going to have the cojones to trade Kyle Lowry at the deadline? And so, again, this kind of leans into that line of thinking. We'll see. I don't know if I'm there yet, but I'll just say that Gabe looked great in the last game against Milwaukee. I hope to see more of that. I felt like Gabe Vincent and Max Strus both have contracts to play for, so I expected them to play great and probably even play over your head because that's usually what contract year players do. Gabe hasn't been able to do that so far this year. Health probably be damned, unfortunately for him, but he's back now. So I'm interested for him to get extended run. And I'm not looking into the Lowry thing too much, although I have not been happy with Kyle Lowry all season. And if there's ever going to be an agenda to maybe find a deal for Kyle Lowry, I might be at the front of the line to push said agenda.
Yeah, so I really agree with you, but I do think as well, I think Gabe Vincent is a really capable point guard. I think defensively, he can do a little more. In my opinion, I could be wrong here. I think he does a little more defensively as far as that point of attack than Kyle Lowry. I think Kyle Lowry has the ability to maybe switch up a little bit more, use that girth of his body to kind of allow himself to hold himself. But let's get to the defensive side of the Milwaukee Bucks, Mateo, right? Miami cooked Milwaukee when they had Lopez on the court. So I was curious, what adjustments do you expect Milwaukee to make coming out into this game? On mute, brother.
My bad, y'all. So what I expect the Milwaukee Bucks to do in terms of adjustments for this game, I do not expect them to finish with only taking 20 shots in the interior. A lot of that has to do with guys like Giannis and Middleton and some other key guys out of the lineup. But Miami had an aggressive 2-3 zone that influenced most an exclusive attack from the outside, and Milwaukee was only good really from the top of the key. Miami neutralized them from the corners and in the paint. They only scored 18 points in that area. I can't remember the last time I've seen a team do that. I think today the Milwaukee Bucks are going to play a lot faster. Miami did hold them to 3 points below the league average in terms of pace, and that's really slow considering today's NBA standards. But I think they're going to make more of an effort to feed Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis in certain moments of the game in the post to take advantage of their back to the basket game, because when they get a certain mismatch, it requires help of an extra defender, and that exposes certain areas of the court. I just think they need to get tougher shots, because some of them, a lot of the triples they took on, some of them they missed last game. Not all the Bucks were getting back in transition, and that was a favorable thing for the Miami Heat tonight. But I think Drew Holiday is going to get cooking again tonight. I'm not sure if Miami will be able to neutralize Bobby Portis' impact. He had 5 fouls in the last game in only 31 minutes, and he has been one of the league's best players this year off the bench, and he's third this season in double-doubles. I think they're going to be much more aggressive, play a lot faster, and I think they're going to be a lot better guarding the paint tonight.
Yeah, and let's get into the Miami, right? Greg, Victor Oladipo last game had 8 assists, and I think that was one of the kind of better outlooking things you can see, as far as maybe when you're missing a Kyle Lowry, somebody else who can start to create. What differences have you seen from Victor Oladipo last season to what we've seen this season in these couple of games?
You know, it's funny. I don't really see the differences on defense as much. I guess you could say that maybe he's doing it a little bit more in rhythm, and he's thinking less on defense than maybe he was, but he was really good on defense in the playoffs last year. I mean, they relied on him in key games, but offense is where I see a different Victor Oladipo, in that he is feeling comfortable, even with shots that I don't love, like step back shots. He's feeling comfortable taking them. He's getting to the rim. He's getting to the free throw line in certain games, which I think is an indication that he's feeling good about where he's getting to on the floor. So I've loved what I've seen. I hope it will continue. I feel like that he's the exact kind of energy that they needed, that this roster was kind of just dying for an injection of life, and he brings that. I'm interested to see if they can bring some additional reinforcements behind him. But yeah, a lot of the stuff that I've been most impressed with Victor Oladipo so far this year has really been on offense, less than defense, because I feel like that's the one mainstay, at least since last playoffs, that we could count on from Depot. And it's also why I think he'll ultimately be a closer for this group in high leverage situations going forward.
Absolutely. So, Mateo, let's get into those prize picks, and I'm going to let you start off with Victor Oladipo. He has points, rebounds, and assists. This is all 3 combined, 22.5. How are you feeling about that number?
I'm going to go with the over his last 5 games. I think he's averaging just below 17 points on 46% shooting. He's become, like to Greg's point, we're seeing the difference more on the offensive end. He's someone who doesn't need a screen all times to get open, and he's hitting some deep shots too. And I like how he's very aggressive taking shots at the lane. And it's still fresh in my mind, the dunk he had against Utah's Walker Kessler. I love that stuff, but I'm going to go definitely with the over. I don't think Milwaukee has enough at the point of attack to someone as quick as Victor Oladipo off the dribble tonight.
Greg, they have Jimmy Butler. I think last game he had 17 points. They have Jimmy Butler this game at 21.5. How are you feeling about that one?
I'm feeling good. I mean, he's averaging 25 over his last 5, so that's a significant more than 21.5. I feel like because he only had 17 in the last Milwaukee game, he'll probably make a concerted effort to get going. Bam Adebayo, who I also like his prop at 21.5, just because he's been playing great nonstop lately. But I think Jimmy gets more than that. I think that he also could probably hit his free throws made prop on Prize Picks. Use the code 5 to get your initial deposit matched. But yeah, I'm going over on 21.5 just by virtue of that he's been hitting 21.5 pretty regularly lately.
Now, they also have, and I'll take this one, they have Max Strus at 15.5 points. I am not feeling that number. I think it's going to be a little bit hard for it. I mean, he's obviously capable of going off any night, hitting a couple threes, but he's been struggling mightily lately, and I don't think that 16 points is really likely for him. So I'm going to go for the under on that. So just to recap everything, we have Max Strus under on points, Bam and Jimmy over on points, and Victor Oladipo over on points, rebounds, assists at 22.5. So make sure you guys, like Greg said, use that promo code 5. We'll match your initial deposit up to $100. Like you said, right there, we literally can play for your entry for $5. That's 20 free plays. Make sure you guys maximize your money. Greg, let's go ahead and get into predictions. How are you feeling about this game? Who do you think, or what is the key to victory for tonight?
It's tough beating a team twice when you play them both, even when you're at home. It's proved to be that in most of these situations, I'm sure one of our data crunchers who watches this show may know better than I, but I'm interested the record of the home and road teams in this situation where you play a team twice, both at home. I would imagine there's been a lot more splits than maybe the two teams would indicate in terms of which team we think is better. So logic tells me that the Bucks sneak out a split today because the Heat beat them in the first game, but that would lack guts. So the Heat are going to cover 4.5 points. That's what the line is. Although I went on Better Edge and I used the code 5RSN to get $20 to start playing, and I got Heat minus 1.5, and then it went to 4.5 when Giannis was announced that he wasn't playing. So it's cool how you can get in on that quickly there. So yeah, I'm taking the Heat to cover. Jimmy, Bam lead us to victory. The role players continue to shoot better. So yeah, this will be a big one for Miami because it's not easy to beat a team twice, even if they are shorthanded.
Yeah, like you said, it's a big part of it. They're being shorthanded. It's going to be interesting to see how Miami is able to play that out tonight. Mateo, how are you feeling about this tonight's game? And also, you know the league as well, right? Who should we watch out for as maybe a danger player for Milwaukee?
This is my pick from last game. It was Pat Connaughton. He did not have the most effective night, but he's one of the most underrated athletes in the league. Just secures the baseline, also on cuts to the basket, and he's someone you have to keep track of in transition who can hit some shots from the corner or on the wings. But tonight, I'm feeling Miami, gentlemen. I think the shots will be there for Jimmy and Bam against the drop coverage. I think a priority of this team will actually be to attack Drew Holiday defensively. You want to have him exhausted when he's on the offensive end because they're so undermanned. He's going to have a lot to do on the other end of the floor. But the Heat also have Caleb Martin. Well, he's probable on the injury report tonight, so I am expecting him to play. So give me the Heat tonight. And I did like the minutes of the young guys last game, like Robinson and Jamal Cain.
Greg Sylvander doing the old Pokemon ass catch him, pulling his hat backwards before he throws out his Pikachu. But let's go ahead. I do think Miami is going to get it done as well. I think with the shorthanded Milwaukee Bucks, they play, obviously they're a team that's built around Giannis, right? And that paint pressure. And we saw last game that they were, I think, 9 of 22 from deep, but they only had less than 20 points in the paint, or 22 made threes, but only had 18 points in the paint. I think that's really tough for success strategy for them. I think Miami's going to be able to get it done. And I think Miami gets on a little bit of streak. That's the good news going into this April or January 15th deadline coming up. Now we have a little more flexibility. The team kind of has a little bit more of, I guess you can call it an identity, because maybe 20 games ago, 15 games ago, we didn't know where we were. We didn't know the direction of this team. But now, because of, like you said, the injection of Victor Oladipo, the team kind of meshing together, and also them getting healthy, Miami's looking at a little bit better of an outlook than we were maybe just 2 weeks ago. Like I said, guys, make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe if you think Miami's going to win. We're also going to keep you covered for your Miami Dolphins coverage. I'm also going to be dropping 2 fighter interviews over the weekend who will be fighting for the PFL as well. One of them is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion, so that should be fun as well. So make sure you guys stay locked on to the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Make sure you guys use that promo code 5 when you're using those prize picks. Make sure you go to markbrownpa.com. Give them a call, 954-866-8513, and let all your assets get planned for you when you win that money from prize picks. It all goes together. Let's go, Heat, guys. We'll see you guys after the game.
For sure.
Now it's just me.
Okay. Obviously, both teams shorthanded, but is this the continuation of the role or sort of the good things you've seen from your team, some of the things that happened again tonight?
Yeah, I mean, probably the one thing that stood out to me and I even mentioned to the team, is that we're developing some grit and some mental toughness and stability. When we were down 15, and probably earlier in the season, we would have been playing catch up the entire game, and then probably had to try to make a furious comeback, in the fourth quarter. We stayed stable, and just worked the game. I think we were out of rhythm offensively in that first quarter, and then we started to press and then not really work the offense the way we needed to. We just kind of settled in, got some defensive stops, and then slowly started to work back into it instead of trying to get a 14 or 15 point play. So there's a little bit more patience in the game. And then, our defensive activity definitely picked up, and that carried through to the second half. And then we got some really good, play from a lot of different guys offensively. But Gabe was terrific. Bam, thank God he just kind of forced his way back. And that's what you love about Bam. He's not going to sit out. Long. He wants to be part of this, and particularly as we're shorthanded, he's going to do whatever he has to do to make himself available. And his presence was really important tonight. And Vic just continues to get more comfortable and give us that big time X factor off the bench.
Obviously no Giannis, but they still had Lopez, they still had Portis, and you out-rebounded them by 22. How encouraging just was that alone?
Yeah, there's more of an emphasis of blocking out and then going up and getting some in-traffic rebounds. I thought Max probably had 4 or 5 that were in a crowd. And if you're facing a team that's going to shoot a bunch of threes, and we're in the 2 our zone, at a lot of different times, there's going to be some tough bounces, but so you don't necessarily have a specific guy to block out. So sometimes you just need to find somebody and then go be a player and go get the ball in traffic. And we've had some possessions and some of these losses that we've had some costly bobbles that have led to threes. And even in the first half, we had a handful of those that led to threes. But the guys made a conscious effort to really go up and grab some tough ones. And Max was terrific. And it'll be even more of a challenge, when they get all of their guys back on Saturday, because it'll be a different kind of rotation, when they break you down, and Giannis will do what he does. He'll bring a second defender and spray it to a 3, and now you have a crowd of people in the paint. So we'll just have to continue to work on that. We've been a very good overall defensive rebounding team. When we haven't done it, it's been costly, but our team has been aware of that, and we're trying to correct that in the second half of the season.
Coach, it's been twice in a row that you had to play an 8-man rotation. Is that something you practice for?
No.
No.
Tell you what, the players love it.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And my second question should be short.
Yeah, but if you know that you're just kind of, if you come out, you're going right back in, every player would love that. You get just enough rest. You get into the flow and the rhythm of the game. When you have, all 15 available, that's when you deal with all the personality management and the emotions and all that stuff and the sacrifice if you want to be a part of something special. Doesn't mean it's easy. You have to, manage through different kind of roles and sometimes fatigue throughout the course of the game. I thought some of the turnovers or ill-advised shots were a little bit more fatigue-oriented tonight. But we gathered ourselves and we were able to just to, find a different way to win. And that's what I from a coaching standpoint, I enjoy seeing that process. If your team is developing some mental toughness and some grit, some resilience to be able to handle all the adversity that you're going to face during a long NBA season.
You alluded to this, but is it safe to assume a completely different game on Saturday?
Yeah, come on. You're talking about a 2-time, 3-time, 1-time. What? How many time MVP? I think they'll have their full complement of players then. Ingles, Middleton, Matthews. I think they've all worked to be able to play. On Saturday. It'll have a different tenor and feel to it, and maybe we'll have a couple more guys back, but who cares? Like, we just got to find a way to compete and win a game.
It's not a surprise to anybody who's actually watched him this year, but is it at all significant for Bam to have a game like that, specifically against Brook?
Well, this has been part of the development for 2 straight years. But I thought he really was intentional throughout the course of the game. He's going to have to make, some of those in the circle shots against this team based on that specific coverage. But it's also a different coverage when they go to the second unit. And I thought he was really assertive and aggressive getting to the rim. And it can't just be one or the other. And you also have to read that immediately in the possession, and this is what we're talking about, and he's really been working on that this year, not to predetermine, just to take what's available and find a way to continue to be aggressive, assertive, regardless of what the coverage is. And it might call for something different at the end of it. And I thought he just did a really good job of reading the situations tonight.
Kind of regardless of who you've had in and out, you've maintained having Victor Oladipo in that 6-man role. Just how important has he been since he got back playing that role to boost the bench?
It's really important. It's what we envisioned, at the start of training camp. That's the role we slotted for him. We knew it would be from his resume, it would be a sacrifice, but based on what his last 4 years would be, that this was what made the most sense. And we also wanted to be patient in this process with him. No matter how long it would take, we just saw, the potential, of that, and he's going to continue to get more comfortable, get his legs under him, understand what his role is, and I've said it before, we just really enjoyed being on this journey with him. Particularly when he's had to overcome so much, it's fun to see him have that joy for the game and with his teammates and having an impact on winning.
Gabe and Vic have kind of been in and out of the lineup a bit this season, but they've been kind of consistently getting minutes together over the last stretch. Just what have you liked, I guess, with that specific pairing on both sides of the floor?
Yeah, I think, in training camp, we played them a ton of minutes together and a lot of possessions together to try to build that chemistry. And sometimes it just clicks. And with them, they just had a really cool understanding of like who can be on the ball, who could be off the ball, and they could just flip that like seamlessly. You didn't have to like overcoach it or overteach it or stress out about it like you probably would in a lot of places in the league. Everybody wants to be on the ball, and the two of them just have just a cool synergy about that, and we can work seamlessly based on the pressure of where we need to get the ball. They both feel comfortable and confident that they can make an impact either way. And as they both get healthier and get more confident in being aggressive, they're not getting in each other's way. It's quite the opposite. They're able to complement each other, and that's a beautiful thing to see.
Eric, unrelated to tonight, the Spurs and Warriors are playing in front of like 68,000 people at Alamo Dome tomorrow.
Wow.
How cool would that be for an NBA atmosphere to have? I mean, literally, I mean, they've
That's
already
epic.
announced like 66,000 or something like
Yeah, am
that.
I living in a hole? Have they been talking about that a lot? I didn't even know.
You're,
That's
a little,
really
you're a
cool.
little busy.
Almost 70,000.
They put the game in the Alamo Dome and tried to break the record and already are scared of breaking the record. But just how neat would that be for an NBA atmosphere?
That is cool. I mean, the game is growing at an exponential rate. One of these days, we got to do something outside and pack 100,000 down here in South Florida. Let's do that. Make that happen.
I think you just did.
All right, we'd have to either do that. We might be able to do that and put a court in the Marlins stadium, and then you put the roof, and open it up. Let's do it. 100,000. That's my call. All right. Thank you.
I think all questions should be forwarded to Gabe Vincent. I'm just here for moral support.
He only need one mic. I tried to tell him they was so set on it though,
Man, that's a nice fit.
You like this?
Recording in progress.
My question is for Gabe, then.
Here for moral support, man.
How did it feel, first off, to have your center back tonight? And secondly, can you just talk about the job that the collective did against a pretty good rebounding team, even though they didn't have Giannis? You guys haven't out-rebounded anybody like that all year. What was that like?
I mean, I think a lot of that can go towards our center being back and one of our max players. Obviously, he makes the game easy on both sides of the floor for a lot of us, myself included. And I think, whether he was setting screens or rolling, he freed me open a lot tonight. So,
Gabe, was there a moment in the game when you said, "Oh, it's going to be one of those games"? Was there a point when you felt it or whatever, and sort of, felt this is another level? This might be a career high.
I think looking around court, they're missing guys just like we're missing guys, and they had only so many quote unquote lockdown defenders, and I think I just was the one that had the favorable matchup a few of the times, and as I got rolling, the basket got big for me.
Gabe, you were the most determinant player in the field today. These kind of games gave to you more and more confidence. And how was the atmosphere in the locker room for you?
It was fun. I've had some shooting struggles so far this season, so anytime the ball is going in, it's obviously much more enjoyable, and way more enjoyable when you get it with a win as well. So it was fun. My guys were encouraging me like they have all season, and it was just great to be able to celebrate my success with them, with our success. I feel like it too, don't I?
Gabe, I'm sure you're not going to beat your chest about this tonight when they didn't have Giannis, but the Bucks only took 2 shots in the restricted area tonight, which is like a 10-year low for the league. It's all to you.
We got our center back. Man.
But is that sort of just a perfect encapsulation of what you guys want to accomplish defensively?
You gonna answer no questions, huh? It's all me.
Yeah, bro, I'm here for more support.
All right, say less.
I'll ad-lib.
I mean, it was important for us to be a defensive team tonight in general. We couldn't let up, which is something we've done throughout this season when, key players on other teams haven't played. So it's been a point of emphasis for us, and we need to make sure we defend it like we talked about earlier today, and playoff misses.
Bam, obviously,
It gotta be you, man.
I'm just a huge fan. After what happened on Sunday and just missing one game, what sort of, how were you able to turn it around so quick, or was it like Spo said, you just refused not to be out there?
Yeah, that was that was stupidity on my part to keep playing with how my wrist was feeling. Like I said, some of you would have been in the ER, but it was just one of those things where, I finally convinced myself I had to sit down, and I had to rest my wrist. So it felt better, obviously. I didn't airball jump hooks, and I made my free throws. So good.
Gabe, Spo talked about it 2 nights ago.
See,
and
listen.
Thank you. I'm well trained. Plus, you yell at me often. Spo talked about it a couple nights ago, and you can just there's still a belief that you guys can put a string together. Just where's that belief coming from, and how have the last couple of nights sort of helped steal that belief, help that belief grow a little?
Yeah, I mean, I think that belief comes from the work we put in, behind closed doors, from training camp until now. So I think we still have faith in ourselves. We still believe in one another, and we're going to keep pushing away day by day and taking it day by day, try to reach our ultimate goal.
Gabe, Spo was talking before about kind of the connection with you and Depot, and just how he kind of kept going to it in training camp, and now you guys are kind of playing a little bit more. Both of you were in and out of the lineup, and it's been more consistent. What have you liked, I guess, specifically with him in the backcourt? Like, what is working on both ends of the floor for you?
Yeah, I mean, he's a dynamic player, I think, and it's been great to see him back on the court. First of all, he missed a couple seasons, and it's great to see him catch a rhythm and get going like he has these past few games. So it's been fun to play alongside him. Our relationship's obviously grown the longer we've been around one another, and we're just going to continue to try to build that connection and make an impact in that second unit or whatever unit we may be in.
Bam, Saturday looks like it'll be a different game, obviously, with Giannis. In these sets, it tends to be the other team tends to make adjustments based on the first result. How different a game do you expect on Saturday?
I can guarantee they're not gonna have 18 points in the paint. He's one of those guys that he puts his head down. So for us, it's just building that wall and making it tough for him.
Gabe, I was just curious, did you know what your career high was coming into the game? And
28.
Did you find out that you had set a new one?
I think it was 27. I wasn't positive, but I should have had 30. I kind of airballed that last jumper. I tricked it. That's on me. But I made my free throw, Ira. I was thinking about you.
I saw both of those. I was worried. You know where I sit.
I was thinking about you.
I was watching.
So we lived to see another day with that one.
See, man, him, bro, him. See, yeah, Max is on his way. Nah, man, I had just got done lifting, so
I swear, I was staring because like, oh shit, not that.
you need more support.
Yep.
It's gotta feel good, huh?
Max, I'm sorry because Gabe's already heard this question, but Spo was talking about this a couple nights ago too, that there's a belief that things can change and that second half of the season can, for you guys, you can put together a good string here. Where's that belief come from, and then what has the last couple of nights done to sort of, help that belief grow?
Winning. Winning cures everything. It's just we're finding ways to grit out wins and come together as a unit and having guys step up. It feels a little bit like last year when we were, winning those tough games when we had guys out and things like that. So it's just finding a collective belief in each other and a collective grit and just finding ways to find wins.
Max, were you surprised you didn't have double-digit rebounds in your NBA career until tonight? I was a little when you got the 10. And
Yeah.
Was there something different that changed for you tonight to get your first double-digit rebound game?
The ball just bounced my way. Got lucky. I thought I have had other multiple. Didn't I do it in the playoffs? Yeah, just regular season doesn't matter? Okay. All right. The playoffs, I got you. But yeah, no, it was fun. Good. It was fun to play some ball tonight. Just had a couple lucky bounces come my way.
Max, in the last game with a couple guys out, it seemed like you were getting to the rim a little bit more. I guess just trying to make up for that tonight. You're obviously playing a team that defends the rim really well. I guess what is that balance like for you when you're trying to, figure out the interior, a little bit more?
Yeah, Brooks, a big dude. They got a good defense, a good scheme, and it took us a little bit to adjust to it. But once we got our rhythm and our flow, and guys were getting aggressive, and we're trying to find Bam in that short roll. Once we got in a little flows, everything just started opening up, and obviously next game's gonna be a little different with guys coming back and things like that. But I think we're gonna try to do that and keep attacking them in the paint because that's what opens everything up for us.
Following up on that, Max, I know you mentioned this morning about the baseball kind of series. One team goes to school after a game, or both teams do after the first one. But with so many other guys who sat out today who likely will play Saturday, how much of a different game are you expecting?
Probably gonna be a whole different game. Yeah.
Hopefully, we got some guys coming back.
Yeah, exactly. Both sides of the teams. Yeah.
Max. You guys haven't seen Brooke in a while because he didn't play in the games last year. But with the way Bam is playing this year, specifically against big centers like him, how has that changed the offense and the approach to a guy who's going to sit back and try and protect the rim?
Bam is special. Bam can attack anybody, guards, bigs, and he's so explosive and so athletic that it's hard for guys like that to stay in front of him. So we just got to get him in his spots and get him to where he can be successful. And Bam's going to be great. Bam's a superstar in this league, and we just got to keep relying on him and keep having him carry us.
Thanks for staying, Gabe. Of course, brother.